I was going to be in the NHL. 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 I was born with severe hemophilia, and hemophilia is a bleeding disorder. I am missing the protein in my blood called factor VIII. Most people think hemophilia is just cuts and bruises, but it's actually internal bleeding. It's very painful, and it targets the joints. So, I treat my bleeds by infusing factor VIII into my body. When I was a kid, my parents noticed I was bleeding a lot more than normal. I would take a needle and nothing would happen. My body would just continue to bleed and my pain would get out of control. This was the beginning of my inhibitors. What they found was that along with my hemophilia, I had this rare condition called inhibitors. And what inhibitors meant was that since my body didn't produce factor VIII, the clotting protein, my body was rejecting it because it was a foreign substance. My body didn't produce it, so my body was like, why is it in there? And this was really bad because this meant nothing would stop the bleeding. My medicine wouldn't work because my body rejected it. I didn't understand what was going on because I was going to be in the NHL. And if hemophilia wasn't already bad enough. I remember crying one day in the hospital. God, why could you let this happen to me? I cursed him. I was mad at him. While I was stuck here in this hospital, all my friends were out playing hockey. Inhibitors literally crippled me. It took away everything I loved to do. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Months after, I remember hearing all this talk about bad blood and scandal and tainted blood. I didn't really understand what was going on. I remember my parents watching the news, and then I saw the word hemophiliac. What does this mean? What was going on? Why was everyone so scared? Well, it turns out in the 80s, there was this new disease going around called HIV, and it had gotten into the American and Canadian blood supply, and it affected mostly hemophiliacs because they relied on blood product to survive. But here is where the story changes. The thing I cursed God about, the thing that I thought was the worst thing that could ever have happened to me, the thing I thought was the end to my life as I knew it, actually saved my life. You see, since I had inhibitors, blood products wouldn't even work on me anymore, so the doctors took me off all of them. I carried resentment towards God because I thought He wasn't there for me when I needed Him, but He was there. He was working in the background, trying to save me from something so much bigger. You see, there were all these other things that I wanted to do that I thought that I was being robbed of, but God had a different agenda. If this trial in my life didn't happen, I would have never picked up a guitar. If these things never happened, I would have never met my wife. If this trial didn't happen, I might not be alive. Today, I still struggle with hemophilia and I still struggle with pain, but it's different because I see the bigger picture. I see that God can see my life from start to finish. He gives me answers. He gives me guidance when I need. He gives me all the things that I need. My name is Nick Wilson, and this is Personal.